This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place to Be Nation universe, what is up? We are back with our TLC pay-per-view reaction show. I'm your host, Chris Zellner, joined as always on this show by the Oracle of WWE himself, Mr. Devon Hales. Devon, how's everything going tonight?
It's going good. Just kind of. This was an interesting show.
I'll say it was.
I think we probably we probably should talk about the weekend of events in WWE probably.
Yeah.
To introduce the show a little bit because it's been a wacky one.
I was asleep Friday afternoon and took a nap. I woke up and all hell had broke loose when they announced that Bray had his viral meningitis or whatever he's got. Roman was sick, taking them out, and Kurt was coming back. Kurt Angle was coming back, and AJ Styles is going to be wrestling against Finn Balor. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is insane. You know, when 2 days build. And I don't know. I think the easiest thing they could have done was just insert maybe Finn into the match, because Finn didn't have a match with Bray. Just insert Finn into the match, have him work as the Demon with, if you're going to do it anyway, have him work as the Demon with Seth and Dean. Finn, you know, has that stuff in the past with Miz that they never really did anything with. So that was something they could have done. That would have been the easier way, but they decided to go balls to the wall here and put Kurt in the match and, you know, bring AJ in. So before, you know, we talk about what happened with that, what was your thoughts on that when they announced it?
Well, funny enough, I had woken up from a nap probably 10 minutes after it had been, you know, released. Because it was like, 3:45 in the afternoon, I guess, and I woke up and I looked at my phone and I had the WWE app and I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
I thought it was a joke. I'm like, this isn't April Fool's.
Like, I thought, first of all, my first reaction was, boy, how bad is this viral meningitis, mumps, whatever it is? I mean, how bad is this? I mean, if it's like, I was concerned because I was like, man, this could spread far and wide and get pretty bad if they're not careful.
Yeah, they could have, I mean, the whole roster could be done. Imagine that. That'd be insane. And the last time some of this happened was when the SmackDown crew had the elevated liver enzymes at the Great American Bash in 2006.
Yep.
So, God, it's just insane. And it is interesting that this doesn't happen often.
Right, it is.
I mean, you would think with these folks being together for, you know, a fairly significant amount of time, that there's not this mass sickness that goes around like that.
Yeah, it's they're lucky to not get, you know, to not run into those things as much. But man, I'm sure it's scary when they do come up.
Absolutely. It's Kurt Angle. And Daniel Bryan's tweets about it were pretty interesting. He was kind of taken aback by that.
He made a pretty interesting tweet about a half hour ago. I don't know if you've seen it. But...
Yeah, I saw it. Well, he's got an interesting case now. You know, if he wanted to pursue something. So, hey, you let this motherfucker back. What about me? So
exactly.
All right, well, let's get to the show. Pre-show begins, and Drew Gulak shows up. You know, he had talked about 205 Live. He was going to give his PowerPoint presentation, but he said that he had been cut for time because Elias was given pay-per-view time and stuff, and basically still did his shtick anyway, but didn't have his PowerPoint. Were you disappointed that we didn't get a PowerPoint presentation on the pre-show?
I mean, not really. I think I would have been not really disappointed, but I'd have been like, oh, kind of like, oh man, I was looking forward to Gulak's shtick because he still got to do a shtick here, which was the important part. He's the highlight of 205 Live for me. I think he's the clear highlight. I think he's better than Enzo. I think he's more entertaining than
he's the best character.
I just love him. Yeah.
He's got the best character, the clearest character. Yeah. The thing is they got to get him against somebody who's just going to be total balls to the wall diving. And I mean, I don't know where Grand Metalik has been at lately, but I mean, he seems like the type of guy that would be into that with Gulak. But yeah, sure. I enjoy Drew Gulak a lot. It's a really good character for him.
Definitely.
So we have our pre-show match: Sasha Banks and Alicia Fox. Now, I'm going to be honest. I had to step out during this part of the show, and I didn't see this match at all. So I'm relying on you completely, Devin, to tell me what happened here. Because I'm a fan of Sasha and Alicia matches because they seem like they could always borderline on actually becoming a real fight.
Right.
The way they work against each other. So, how did this compare to the previous matches between the two?
This had more shtick in it this time around. I think Sasha won with a bank statement and tapped Foxy out, but okay. This was a solid little match. In some ways, I think their sprints were better because I think they went a little overboard, especially early with the shtick. Alicia was being typical Foxy and entertaining, but it felt a little bit too focused on that and instead of what was going on in the ring. But once she took control, she hit hit her Northern Lights suplexes and had a funny bit where she slammed Sasha to the floor and did a count out false finish spot, and Foxy was like yelling at the ref and yelling at the fans to count with the ref and stuff like that. So that was pretty entertaining. And as far as Sasha goes, she looked good as usual. Her bumps were a lot safer tonight. She took 2 pretty safe bumps off the ring apron in this match, which I think was interesting. She didn't take the typical Sasha reckless bumps. I don't know if it was just kind of how just by chance that was the case, or she's consciously trying to change that. But or maybe it was a pre-show match and you don't want to go balls to the wall. So that could also be it. But and I don't even think it's a negative. I think you should probably save those big bumps for bigger matches. But I just thought that was an interesting thing that I noticed. As she typically takes. I remember watching like a match she had with Summer Rae last year on Superstars where she took an insane, bump on her head on the apron, and it was like, why? But so yeah, but it was a fun little match.
Interesting. And I was, I had looked at Twitter a little bit as before the match had got started. I noticed people were saying that Sasha, when she came out, she had, she didn't have the I'm jobbing look on her face, which she does that a lot. So she didn't have her boo-boo face. That's what it was said. So at least she won the match. So that's the first of our 3 women's matches tonight, too, by the way. So,
yeah.
A stellar night for the women. Which leads us to the main show. First match, Asuka making her main roster debut against Emma. Now, this was a polarizing match online. There were a lot of people that were under the belief that Asuka should have went in and just steamrolled Emma, totally squashed her, and have like a Goldberg type of victory since they're doing the undefeated gimmick and they're trying to make Asuka do this big deal. But Emma has been built up, in the past few weeks for this match. She's doing this whole thing where she started the women's revolution, blah, blah, blah. And this is you should have known what you were going to get in this match because it was the opener of the show. There's no way they're going to have the opening match go out there and be a 5-minute sprint. There's just no way.
Right.
WWE does not do it like that. That's not the way they do shows. So Asuka gave a lot to Emma here, and I think Emma looked as good here as she's looked in a long time. And she was very effective on offense. Asuka got the heat, got the comeback. Fans were into the match. They were into the story of Asuka selling and fighting back and eventually getting the win. So, the match had some time, but I got no problem with it. And, one thing I'm going to say to the people that weren't down with the way this match was set up, Asuka has been storyline out of action for the last 2 months. So she's got storyline ring rust. And also, you could also push the narrative that she's not in NXT anymore. She's on the main roster. The competition's tougher now. So there's narratives you can go to explain this. But what were your thoughts on the match and how everything was set up?
I thought the match was excellent, actually. I think these two have good chemistry. I did think Emma looked the best she has in a long time. I think she realized this was a big match for her. And she looked really good in it. I think the biggest positive was that Asuka was very over. She got a great pop when she came out. The fans got into the match, into her selling. They popped for her win. I do think that there is a big flaw in the sense that I've heard people make some decent arguments. You made a decent one. I heard somebody else make a good argument that it would have been a bad idea for Asuka to win the match in 2 minutes because there isn't enough depth on the women's rosters, and I think that's true, and I think that's a terrible flaw to have. This is a character that needs. I think it would have been better off for Asuka to come in and wipe somebody out in 2 minutes, honestly. But I understand why, because you can't. They need more women on these rosters. If you want to
they
book
got
characters.
a ton of them in NXT.
If you want to book characters like Asuka, you need more women.
They have a ton of them in NXT.
That's the main issue is the depth. I think ultimately it was a success. I definitely don't think it was a failure. I think it's silly to say that. In fact, completely silly, because what matters today in WWE more than anything is whether or not people are over.
Exactly.
And Asuka was very over, and that was the success of that. Whether or not I think there should have been a squash or not, I would have preferred it that way. The match was really good. Emma looked really good. It was a success in the end, and I think the biggest issue is just that there's just no depth to these rosters. In terms of the women's divisions.
NXT is, like I said, stacked with
I know
right now. So and then they've got women that need to come up to help fill out these rosters that they're not really doing nothing with on television. I was at NXT Thursday night at the Macon Georgia House show, and Mandy Rose is not on television, on NXT television, and she's main roster ready with look and gimmick wise. Sarah Logan, they're not doing anything with her really on NXT television. Bring her up. Sage Beckett, not doing anything with her on NXT television. Bring her up. Just to have depth, to have have some different matchups out there. And my thing here is, I think Emma gained from losing in this match.
Sure.
Emma slowly crawled back into being taken serious again. That Emelina stuff really hurt her.
Yeah, well, I think the Emelina stuff was. I think there were several problems with that, and I don't think she's. I don't think you. I think she has to be blamed a little bit for that, to be honest.
Oh yeah, she definitely
didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I just think the biggest problem is the Asuka character needs. I think it's the best way for this to really, really, truly work at its best is for her to have squash matches, and I actually suspect she will on TV. They'll probably bring some indie ladies in. But I think it's the problem when you have this roster that you work these even matches and they're good matches, but that depth is what's needed, to have some squash matches. But
Yeah.
that's
We'll
my
see where
main
they go from
criticism.
here. I mean, we'll see where they go from here because I'm guessing that Asuka will be part of Team Raw at Survivor Series, and they'll probably do something there.
Sure.
In that match, which they've already teased. We'll talk about that in
Yep.
a little bit when we get to the women's title match. But it was teased on Raw Talk after the pay-per-view. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. All right, and then we have a promo with the Bar, The Miz, Kane, Braun. Basically, it was trying to set up a deal where Miz and the Bar were together. They were solid as a unit, while Braun and Kane were out for themselves, which plays into the story later on in the match.
Yep.
So this was the build up, what we were going to see, at the main event. So next we get the first appearance of Elias, where he's on a stage, by the stage, and he's trying to play his guitar, trying to do his tribute to Prince. And all of a sudden, this green thing gets thrown at him, and another green thing. And then Jason Jordan throwing stuff from a buggy, throwing produce at Elias.
He looked like he called Raven for his old hardcore buggy he used to take down to the ring.
But you know what though? You know what this and they did it again later. You know what this reminded me of? This was something that Kurt would have done. That they would have had the Kurt character do.
Yeah.
And he had the goofy smile on his face too as he was doing it. So it seems like they may have been thinking, this would have been something that we would have had Kurt do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, kind of like the throwing the milk cartons and spraying the milk.
But one thing I worry about with this though, and I'm curious to see what you think. Do you think this is going to lead to fans actually throwing stuff at Elias now?
I actually kind of hope so, but I also hope not. I hope so because it would be awesome, but I hope not because of safety issues. But that's a good point that I didn't actually think of. It's very possible that could become a trend. That definitely would have if this was 20 years ago, you guarantee people be on Nitro throwing, they were already doing it for other stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, if they pulled that stunt, you'd be getting people, at least a few people doing that. But that's an interesting little side question there.
Yeah, I'm just curious about that. So that's going to work for sure. Hopefully not. And if they do something, maybe it'll be one of them beach balls or something soft.
Yeah.
I seriously though, at the beginning thought the fans were throwing at it for real. I'll give them credit the way they shot it.
Yeah.
It looked like it came from the fan. The way Elias was selling it too. Come on, guys. So I thought that was cute the first time, but we get it again. All right. Next match is a 205 Live Spotlight match. Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher against Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann. And this was a pretty fun match. Everybody got to do some things, got to hit their moves. Cedric got to dive all over the place. Swanee got to hit some dives. Cedric got the lumbar check on Kendrick, got 3 counts, and nothing to say. And, just a good, unoffensive match, and a good way to spotlight these guys on a main pay-per-view, because, you think about it, other than the Cruiserweight title match itself, how many non-Cruiserweight title matches have we had on pay-per-view lately? I can't think of any really ones.
3 or 4, if you include pre-show matches, probably.
I'm including main. I'm just saying main show.
Main show? I'm not sure if we've ever had one. I think this
yeah.
The first
Okay.
one.
That's what I knew. It had to be rare.
Yeah. This might be the first one. It was a good match, though. Yeah. I think the fans they they were more over for than I expected them to be, which shows that Cedric and Rich are very good baby faces.
Oh yeah.
There was a moment where I was like, they're not really getting into this, and then right after that they started clapping for the hot tag, so it was kind of funny, but yeah, they the fans popped for the big spots. It was a nicely paced match. Jack Gallagher working in street clothes is just it's just jarring to me. It's just weird.
What about his new music?
Yeah, that's also strange. I like his. I've never been a fan of like guys working in street clothes unless it's like like a Street Fighter. I don't know. It's just weird visually to me. Yeah, it's just weird.
It's different at least.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, Big Bubba Rogers worked at Suspender, so I mean.
That's true. That is true.
And Big Boss Man worked in his damn uniform.
Yeah. There you go.
So Ray Traylor was able to do it his whole career.
Yeah. Yes, he was. But yeah. This was a good match, and it was nice for those guys to get a pay-per-view spot.
Absolutely. And a show like this, which, early on in the show, I saw some of our friends like MLJ and stuff talking about how this show felt like an old school in your house type show. With just these I wouldn't say odd matchups, but like different matchups.
Right. Well, I tweeted out, it was like a 96 to 99 Nitro era pay-per-view, like it was like one of those, like, be like Mikey Whipwreck versus Disco Inferno matches or some shit, on the card. So it was one of those deals.
But all these matches had build. I mean, this one right here has been built for a month.
Yeah, very true.
And which they explained it. They explained the whole Gallagher turn again and everything. So it worked. And again, it's good to see these guys get on the main show. All right, Alexa Bliss gave an interview next to Charlie and talked about Biscuit Butt, where she had the line. She says, "I like my butt, and it's cute," which I'm sure a lot of guys really enjoyed that. Hearing her say that. And she went and she did her shtick again about Mickie James being old, and I don't know. I see a lot of people like not really into the whole call Mickie James old storyline, but and Mickie James, I thought her interview was something else, where she, on the pre-show, which we didn't talk about, where she just basically said, "Oh, there are girls older than me on this roster," which is true.
She had to keep herself. She had to hold herself. I think she thought about it and she realized I think she almost outed Asuka's age. Because Asuka's what, 35 or 36?
Yeah, so and Tamina's 39.
Yeah. I think she had to stop herself mainly for the Asuka thing, because now she's a year or two older than Asuka, but you can't go. I think it could potentially be damaging to Asuka if you're like, well, Asuka's 36 years old. And it's like, well, that'll help. But
yeah, because Mickey's only 38. I mean, she's 22 years younger than me. She's only 38 years old. But yeah, you look at Asuka, her age. I mean, Natalia's 35. Like I said, Tamina's 39.
Yeah.
So, and I did like that she put on the men too. Look at all the guys. Half the roster's older than me.
Yeah.
And give Mickie credit. Mickie looks great for her age too. I mean,
she does. Yeah.
She's held up very, very well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I do think it's odd because Alexa's only.
She's 25, I believe.
26-ish, 25, 26. So, I mean, she's not that much younger than Mickie James, 12 years. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, the match was next. Alexa versus Mickie for the women's title. This was a very interesting match. I liked the match personally. I thought that they went out there, worked hard. Some good, hard-hitting action. Mickie looked really strong here, against Alexa. And it was interesting, though, the fans were not into this a lot, including they got a We Want Tables champion,
Yeah.
which I thought was odd. But Mickey got duped by Alexa. Alexa threw into the corner, worked over her bad shoulder, then got the finish, got the win, retained the title. Charlie interviewed Mickey after the match. Mickey said she was proud of her performance, and she gave all she had, and she proved that she was worthy of the shot, and said she'd be coming back. So I liked the promo after the match. We don't see a whole lot of that anymore, so that was a good thing. But what were your thoughts on this? Do you think Mickey held up and held her into the bargain?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think she could have done a little bit better selling the arm down the stretch, but otherwise, I thought this was a very good match. And they both worked hard. I had heard that they had a good match on the house show circuit this past weekend, so there was some decent hopes for it, and I think they lived up to it. It was a good match. The right person won. They're probably building to an Alexa Asuka match down the line, would be my guess.
Well, yes, because Alexa has mentioned that she has cleaned up the division again.
Sure. Yep.
She's beat everybody, which she has, except Asuka.
Yeah, and then you got the Mickey promo, which seemed like a I'm leaving but I'm coming back promo. It seemed to me, I don't know.
Could be. Who knows?
But or maybe it was just a. But those promos are weird because sometimes it's just us reading too much into it. But
oh yeah.
But it could be just what it was.
Now, Alexa on Raw Talk after the show said that she was going to be the team captain of Team Raw, since she is the women's champion, and all of them are going to have to just follow her lead. So I think that there's your build right there with her and Asuka.
Yeah.
Starting off with as Asuka is going to buck her leadership.
Yeah, looks like it.
But yeah, the women's division is interesting right now because, like I said, Alexa's been cleaned up the Raw division, beat everybody. We got the ongoing Who Knows storyline with Bayley. I mean, who knows what's going to happen there?
Who knows?
Sasha, they gave her a win tonight, so she's being kept kind of strong. And Asuka, of course, making her debut. So, yeah, the Raw women's division is interesting. There's some
it's doing pretty
good
there. For itself. It just needs a little bit. But I mean, like they've got hell, they had 3 matches tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like they're. I just it's just a depth thing. If you add 4 or 5 more names to each division, I think you could really get some good strong divisions in there.
I wonder what the SmackDown the women were feeling like that they can't get but one match on these pay-per-views.
I know.
And they got Becky and Naomi and wow.
Yeah.
Something else. And the story here of Alexa going and working on Mickey's arm. What's Asuka had problems with lately? On storyline.
That's true. Yeah. Good point. So, very good point.
Yeah. Good point. And Alexa has done that before with other people.
Doing Bayley, I believe.
Thing, so. Yeah, exactly. All right, next we get Rollins, Ambrose, and Angle backstage. Angle's talking about how he don't know how much he has left in the tank, but he's going to give it his all. And then they gave Kurt the Shield jacket. And the crowd went nuts for that.
They did.
I mean, and like you said, it's all about reactions a lot of the times, and they went nuts for that shit.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think they knew what was going to be coming, but
no. I personally I thought it was cheesy, but I mean it definitely worked for sure.
It worked for this crowd, and it worked for a lot of the WWE fan base. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean that's all you want, really. But we'll talk more about that when we get to it. Then we had Elias come out for the second time. Crowd was booing him harder this time, so they were getting him over here.
Yeah, they were.
Jordan threw the lettuce again, and Corey Graves was great as always. Their new segments with Booker and Michael talking about how great Elias is, and
I
It's just,
have to go backwards real quick because I just remembered something.
okay.
Speaking of Booker, because Booker was on a roll
Oh
tonight.
boy,
Booker was on a roll
Booker was
tonight.
on fire tonight,
We'll
boy.
get to the Jason Jordan match later, but he
and the main event.
He compared he compared Alicia Fox to the missing link during the.
I saw that. I hated I missed that.
And Michael Cole had a conniption when he's.
At least the missing link worked in WWF.
Right.
But I hated I missed that.
That's a good setup for when Booker really becomes a factor later, and we'll talk about that hilarity.
Oh my lord! Oh, he was on fire tonight. So yeah, we had the continuing alliance thing with those three. Enzo's out next, and he has laryngitis. I think when it comes to guys and having health issues, some guys, like the high flyers, when they injure their legs, that's the worst injury they can have. A boxer, breaking his hand, that's maybe the worst injury they can have. Enzo losing his voice is the worst injury he can have.
I said while the show was on, I was like, wait a minute, Enzo lost his voice. I was like, we got viral meningitis running around. Of all the people who'd get viral meningitis, Enzo's one of them. And he
he might more than that.
He's out there with a lost voice. Boy, that's dangerous. Who knows what he's come down with?
Oh no, any type of social disease or anything. But he did his shtick though, even with his bad voice. So he's a professional, a true professional. Which led to him versus Cristo. This was an odd match. Kalisto, God bless him. I don't know what he can do to get over. I really don't. I mean, the guy, he looks good. He's got the outfits. I mean, you would think that he could be somebody that the fans would really start to try to get into. The match was built around him, getting heat and stuff like that. But the fans just cannot get into this guy. I don't know what it is. And Enzo still has his fans, although there's more booing him every week. So he's getting over as a heel, but I don't know. And Enzo eventually got the pin, with the Giordano. So he's two-time champion. He won the belt, but which is obvious was going to happen. That was the whole plan to begin with.
Sure.
But I don't know, man. It's interesting to see where they're going to go now with Enzo as far as a challenger. Who's going to be the guy that's going to stick out? I mean, it's going to be Mustafa Ali. I don't know. It's up in the air. So, what do you think about this match and the whole Kalisto experiment?
I thought the match was pretty boring. I'm a Kalisto fan, but I actually blame the quality of the match more on Enzo. I just don't think he's a very good in-ring worker.
Well, he's not.
He's not good.
Especially as a heel.
Yeah, absolutely. He as a face, he can be facing peril on the tags and take big bumps and make a big tag or whatever. As a heel, people kind of want to boo him because of the stuff he says, but and he has annoying mannerisms and stuff, but like he doesn't have the ability to be compelling on top as a heel within a match. As far as the Kalisto stuff, he's a much better worker than Drago is in terms of guys who have that look.
Yes.
But he just isn't getting over. I mean, it's disappointing in some ways because I think he's pretty talented. But yeah, I mean, the match was just boring. Funny thing is, I actually forgot Enzo had lost the belt. So when he won the match, I thought, oh, he retained. And then I thought, oh, wait a minute. What? I was like, oops. I mean, that's how uninteresting 205 Live has been recently. I mean, like, I totally forgot Enzo had lost the belt 2 weeks ago. I thought he was a champion coming into the match.
He doesn't mean him Raw.
I mean, he's been so much, featured so much that I just figured,
When you don't know, that's something. When you didn't know that.
Well,
wow.
I mean, I remember watching the title switch on Raw. It was so insignificant. It was literally so insignificant that I actually forgot that Enzo had actually won the title for a second time that night. That's how so insignificant Kalisto's title change was.
And the thing about Enzo is, they do this big thing where everybody's against him, and then all of a sudden he's got the heel cruiserweights working with him now.
Yeah.
Because he's paying them.
Yep.
So, I don't know. We'll see what happens here. All right, next match is one of the matches that had to be redone, as we get the Demon Finn Balor against AJ Styles. Yes, they let Balor still do the Demon gimmick that he was going to do against Bray. AJ flew 18 hours from Chile, so he had to be tired.
Yeah,
jet lagged. This is a match that's a dream match for a lot of people. The crowd was red hot for this.
Yeah,
they were chanting, "This is awesome," before the match even started. Which, to be honest, this is the same city that did the same thing for the Shield Wyatt family TLC match. Remember that? That was in
Minneapolis. That's right. Yeah.
Yes. So they have a track record of doing it, but they were definitely into this, and this is the two former leaders of the Bullet Club, which they kind of danced around that on commentary. Corey Graves did. Renee Young on the pre-show said, almost basically just said it completely. Said these guys were the former leaders of the club, the infamous club, excuse me. So, she put that out there, but
yeah.
This was, like I said, a dream match for a lot of people. I think Finn keeping the Demon paint for this match made sense, because if this match would have took place in Japan, he would have been wearing the paint anyway.
Right.
So, it was where it was. And this match was definitely worked like a, main event match on a New Japan show.
Right.
I thought it was a very strong match. Was it as good as maybe they could have had? I don't know. I think they could probably have better. But I put a lot of that on, AJ having, jet lag and stuff. And they didn't put any build behind it.
No.
It was just, basically, this is just a make good. This was a make good situation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This is the same thing as Triple H flying to Chile to face Rusev today.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's just on pay-per-view. But, I thought, like I said, very strong match. Finn Balor got the win, which I think was the right decision, because it's Raw. Finn's the guy that's about to get a push on Raw. So AJ's fine. AJ can lose to Finn Balor. There's no big deal there, I don't think. And then of course they did their two sweets at the end of the match, which the fans loved. So we got like I said, a strong match and a interesting finish and a great ending. So I know you're not the biggest Finn Balor fan in the world. I know you love AJ Styles. What'd you think of everything here?
I thought this was a great match. I probably won't like it as much as some people, maybe. Well, I don't know. I thought it was the match of the night. I thought it was a great match. I thought AJ was excellent in this match. Took some big bumps. I thought they spaced out the near falls really well. They didn't do near fall overkill. I thought they did a nice build and paced the match really well. The announce table tackle spot was great. They had the AJ did the springboard Frankensteiner, which I think he's only done once. Yes. One other time in one of the Cena matches, maybe.
Looked nasty too.
Yeah, it did. Finn took a nasty bump on that. Finn winning clean is fine. It's a Demon gimmick, whatever. Speaking of the Demon gimmick. Speaking of the Demon gimmick, I wonder if he was supposed to do the Halloween pumpkin deal, but then when Bray got sick, he just decided to do regular red and black Demon.
Well, I'm glad.
Yes.
I'm glad they didn't do the Halloween stuff, because that Raw visual was ridiculous.
Yes, it was very much so. But I was like, oh man, where's the Halloween pumpkin at? But
And we were saved. We were fucking saved from that match.
while we were,
Oh my
I
God,
know.
Sister Abigail. Oh God,
Yeah,
that would have been wrestle crap worthy right there. Oh
definitely,
Jesus.
definitely so. But yeah, I think it's interesting that AJ's getting these clean losses. I don't really. I It's interesting. I think the company sees him as a guy who's been made. They think, okay, we made him with the title run. We made him when he beat Cena. And now he's going to put other younger stars over because he's older.
Well, I
I
think AJ. Okay, you mean they're doing Gender and Brock for Survivor Series, which is
Yeah,
a whole nother
that's a
story.
terrible idea. But
God, but they set up Gender and AJ for after Survivor Series.
yes, they did.
I gotta wonder if I'm thinking AJ's gonna be the one to take the title of Gender,
I think he probably is too.
and that builds to him and Nakamura at WrestleMania.
I just think it's interesting. I don't know. I don't want to say it hurts him, but it is interesting that he's taking these clean losses.
Well, what does WWE do?
Right, sure. In this case, they're kind of trapped in a corner, especially with the
Well, yeah, but
chaos of
I mean,
everything.
they do though that they love the job
You're right.
guys
You're
and
right.
get
Absolutely.
and build them back.
Look at Corbin. Of course, when
Oh
they
God,
jobbed
yeah,
him out, it got him really unover.
yeah. Well,
But
that and all the music changes. You don't know when he's coming out.
yeah, but it was. But yeah, it was a great match, and of course they did the too sweet thing after the match, which was, everybody popped for. I laughed because it was cheesy, and lame. But I'm not a fan of the Bullet Club.
It
Surprise,
worked for that
surprise.
crowd.
Yes, it does, though. Yes, yeah, it definitely did. They popped big for it.
So yeah, and all in all, and let's be honest, this was a million times better than what we would have had
Oh,
with
sure, of course,
Balor and Bray. So
definitely,
we won out in the end for sure.
definitely.
All right, next we get Jason Jordan and Elias, which is built on this show with these multiple segments. Elias did sing again before Jordan came out. This was an interesting match. It is in the depth slot of the show, but I thought both guys worked hard. I thought it was a pretty hard hitting match. That knee Elias hit Jordan with in the corner was wild. I'm surprised Jordan came back as quick as he did from that one.
Yeah,
That caught him flush.
yes, it did.
But yeah, I mean both guys worked hard. The finish had to be done on purpose.
Oh, of course.
Because Elias' shoulder was up. The referee was on the opposite side. Couldn't see it. So Elias going to bring that up again, and then we'll have that whole thing going on. But I thought this was perfectly fine. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a perfectly fine little match. Honestly, the highlight was Booker T on commentary.
Yes.
Was there a point where he said "fuck" on commentary?
If he didn't, it sure as hell sounded like us. He got so worked up about it. That's the thing. He gets so worked up about Jason Jordan. It's amazing. I mean, and I think he actually believes. It's like somebody said that Booker T is the only announcer in wrestling that actually believes that what he's looking at is legit. Sometimes, and he just was going off in this match.
He said at one point Jason Jordan was on top and on offense. And he was setting up Elias on the turnbuckle, and Booker was like, he looks like he's lost right now. And Corey Graves goes, hey, Booker, you and I aren't watching the same match.
And he was like going up on Corey Graves like Corey Graves didn't even wrestle. Like Corey Graves has never been in the ring before.
Yes. But the best was after the match. Right after the finish, Michael Cole yells, you don't see it, but he yells, Booker, you just slammed your glasses on the table. So apparently Booker had ripped his glasses off and slammed them on the table because of the injustice of Jason Jordan winning in the way he did.
I mean, doesn't this? I mean, this is constant stuff going on. Doesn't it seem like something's going to happen with it?
There has to. They have to be doing some sort of weird Booker, Jason Jordan, maybe one spot little rivalry or something. I don't know. Like Maybe Booker will take her German or something. I don't know. But,
or Booker may be the one that corrupts Jordan.
Yeah, that's true. There you go. As payback for Kurt trying to fuck Sharmell all those years ago.
Which, hey, these days in current WWE, they would bring up in continuity.
Yeah, they would. That's true. That's true.
So, I can't. This is gonna be something. And Booker, it gets better. Because in the main event, he has some moments there too. All right, before we had the main event, they had the commercial Survivor Series where they announced that all the matches would be Raw versus SmackDown matches. So there's the reason why we're going to have Braun versus Jinder.
Yep.
I guess to explain that out. Although I'm pretty sure it's non-title. So we'll see what happens there, and they'll have the Class Survivor Series matches. So I mean, we very easily could see Balor and AJ again. On that show.
We could. Very, very possible.
And maybe AJ may get a win back on there. We'll see.
Yep.
Miz said he had a surprise at the end of the match, and they were going to take the Shield to the garbage. They're going to treat him like garbage and going to put him in the dump.
This was Vince McMahon written all over it right here.
Well, all right. Let's. We haven't said this at all. I mean, we did mention it in a way. Triple H was not here. Triple H was in Chile. This show definitely seemed like a show where Vince McMahon ran amok. He had nobody to filter him or to control him here.
Seems.
And this match in particular we're about to talk about is the crown jewel of that.
Definitely.
I mean, the Shield of Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and you remember for the night Kurt Angle, who when he come out there with them in the crowd, smiling with his hands in the air was just amazing. What a photo that was! I burst out
laughing. I couldn't stop laughing.
It was amazing. Against Braun Strowman, Kane, The Miz, and Starling Sheamus. So it's 3-on-5 handicap match. They kept the handicap. And the visual of Kurt and the Shield gear coming out with the Shield, I could up and laugh and smile because I thought it was so funny. But it made sense considering what happened later on, that he didn't come out with his intro.
Sure.
So, but anyway, this match, this is a Vince McMahon special, and this match felt like a match that would have been on a 1998 pay-per-view.
Yes.
This was total Attitude Era spectacle, just wild shit going on. So much going on. It's hard to just even go over the stuff that was involved in this match. But you had, all your table spots. You had the ladders being used, chairs, Kane getting speared through the partition there where the ring announcer was at. Braun Strowman and Kane turning on each other multiple times. Braun being chokeslam. Well, I wouldn't say chokeslam. Pushed into a hole where chairs come raining down on top of him.
Leaping senton splash.
Yes. Then Braun being Braun, just jumping out of there and going into Kane. Braun getting put in the trash truck and basically murdered. And for the second time this year, by the way.
That's right.
And it's just wild. The Shield just kept coming back. Angle was stretchered out, comes back with his music, so the fans could do their thing. Chant "You suck" at him, and while he came back and that Angle slam on Cesaro through the table looked nasty.
Yeah, it did.
That could have been bad, and just so much going on here. Angle's bump that he took through the ropes.
Oh boy, that fused neck was about to break a few screws there for a second. He literally did a headstand.
He was on his head. He was on his fucking head. And then he eventually comes back and helps to finish where they hit the Shield powerbomb on Miz. Miz eating all the finishers. Wow.
Yeah, it was.
What a fucking. And Kurt did the rolling Germans.
Yeah.
In this match. It was just insanity. Just pure insanity. I don't know if I could say it was a good match, a bad match. I don't know what to say about this match. It was just a big fucking spectacle. I don't know how you grade this. I just know it was long as shit, and it just was wild. What do you think?
It was one of the strangest matches I think I've ever seen in the history of the company. It literally, Kurt coming out, basically, I actually think it wouldn't shock me if Roman was supposed to get hurt in the match and then come out and make the big save. And they just literally inserted Kurt in Roman's spot.
That makes total sense, psychology-wise. They so want to get Roman over.
Yep.
They so want to get Roman over.
It actually wouldn't shock me. And in a way, not that they won't find another way to do that. And I love Roman Reigns, don't get me wrong. And I always will. I mean, I think he's an awesome wrestler. That would have really made it even worse for Roman if they pulled that booking bullshit, because it would have pissed fans off even more. So in a way that actually saved Roman, and I think probably would have made the crowd happier. You know, I think this outcome actually, because I'm pretty sure that was literally what they did. I mean, not only did they have Kurt take Roman's place, I mean, it was an exact carbon copy. I mean, he put him in the fucking Shield gear.
Yes,
and had him come out in Shield gear and work a match in Shield gear. I mean, it was literally basically just a complete clean replacement would be my guess.
It was like when you would have a masked man, and when the guy didn't show up, you could just put somebody on the mask.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. I thought the opening minutes were really fun. Typical fun, chaotic stuff in the start of a TLC match. Kurt's little moment where he did the rolling Germans and went nuts was fun. The power slam spot was actually a pretty safe spot. It was a fun little spot. Kurt collapsing on the ramp, I was a little concerned. I've watched wrestling for too long. I thought, oh my God, are they going to do like a Ric Flair, Fritz Von Erich angle here? But
he may have actually had a heart attack. I mean, who knows?
But then I think the match got boring. I think the 5-on-2 stuff, that's where the handicap match becomes a big issue. Another issue is when you have 5-on-3, there were moments where the Shield or rather the Bar and Miz were laying around taking naps, and usually you don't notice it that much when it's even. But when you're out there trying to take out the two big guys in the match, and the other guys are, what the hell are the other guys at? Especially the Bar, what are they doing? Aren't they tough guys? Aren't they supposed to be coming in and fighting right now? Like, are they hiding? Like, that's not, it's just weird. Like, it doesn't work. And the 5-on-2 stuff, the crowd wasn't even really that into it. It was just kind of, when the match slowed down, the battle stuff on the ramp, the
crowd didn't want Kurt to leave.
No, they didn't. The first Kane and Braun showdown in the ring was good, where Kane accidentally hit Braun with a chair or whatever. There's so much stuff going on. I have to mention this stuff. When Kane rose up from the announce table spot after Kurt got taken out and Kane sat up or whatever. Yeah. It literally looked like he had it literally looked like one of his kids woke him up at 4 a.m. in Knox County, and Glenn Jacobs was getting pissed off because his kid woke him up because he's got a campaign meeting at 7 a.m. And he the look on his face, he literally looked like he woke up from a nap. The Kane Braun stuff was okay at first, then it derailed into absolute terrible campy WWE terribleness. Braun getting murdered in a dumpster is one of the worst things I've ever seen. I mean, it's literally one of the worst things I've ever seen in wrestling. That was awful. I mean, it was indefensibly bad. It was really, really, really terrible. When Kurt came back out, that was hilarious and awesome. I burst out laughing after he had gotten rid of the bar and they did the zoom in camera on his face, and he looked all intense and shit. We literally burst out laughing in the room. We couldn't stop laughing. And then, of course, the spot where Miz counters the ankle lock, and Kurt, he had done everything relatively safe for the, for the entire match, and the one bump, he takes over head first and literally does a headstand on the ring apron for about 2 seconds. And there was a moment where we all thought, oh my God, he's going to break his neck. I mean, it was.
Oh, it looked terrible.
I mean, it was one of the scariest things I've ever seen.
Very awkward. Just very awkward. And there's like screenshots of it on Twitter, and I'm sure they'll be bouncing around.
Yeah.
It just. I don't know what he was thinking when he tried that.
I mean,
but to his credit, he popped back up and returned to the ring.
I mean, the guy has no mobility in his neck at all.
No, you can tell it. They had to be very careful with him.
I mean, but yeah,
and having against Sheamus too. I mean, I love Sheamus to death, but
if you notice, Sheamus and Cesaro weren't working very much at all with Kurt. You know, Kurt
no, they were not.
Kane was, and Kane's literally one of the safest wrestlers of all time. Kane's not going to hurt anybody. So, you know, and Braun's green, but Braun seems like relatively safe too. So, I mean, and he protected Kurt pretty well on that power slam. If you watch, he covered his neck on the way down. So, but yeah, that was, and of course the finish was fun. I can't call it good and I can't call it bad. There were tons of bad stuff in it. There was a few good things, tons of fun moments. It was just one of the strangest things I've ever seen. It was just one of the most bizarre.
And then we have Booker on commentary, who just went off on Kurt Angle during this match, and when Kurt was gone, it was insane. I mean, you listen to Booker, you thought this match is a shoot. How dare Kurt Angle put these guys in this match, you know, in this handicap when Kurt Angle was a part of the match too.
Booker T's the best commentator.
I mean, it was one. I love Booker T. Oh God, yes. He should win the Announcer of the Year in the Observer Awards. Because I mean, it's just unpredictable. You just never know what you're gonna get out of Booker T.
But yeah,
and he's very entertaining in what he does.
Oh yeah,
sure.
This was just I don't really have. I mean, yeah, this was just a very.
What can you say? I mean, it was too damn long. It was real long.
Yeah, it was.
So, I don't know where we go from here. How far is Roman? I mean, how long is he going to be out of action? We got Survivor Series coming up, but I don't know. What do you think they do? What do you think they do?
Man, I don't know. I don't know how sick Roman is. I don't know how long he's going to be out. It's hard to predict. I think they'll probably do for Survivor Series Brock Jinder on top. Main events, a 5-on-5 male singles, 5-on-5 male tag teams, 5-on-5 women. And I imagine they'll do a cruiserweight match of some sort. And they might slip in another match on the pre-show. They might do maybe like a mid-card, undercard Survivor Series elimination tag on the pre-show, maybe.
I mean, they could. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to go all out with Survivor Series matches, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
But with this Shield situation, all right. This was supposed to be the big reunion of the Shield. You know, Roman Reigns' first time in the ring with Seth and Dean since, the breakup. Do you think this was a blessing in disguise that they didn't reunite fully for this match?
Yes, I do. I do.
So that's two then. That's two things that good things that came out of that.
That's true. There you
go. So, wow, what a show this was for sure. So, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. Where do you stand on this show?
I'll give it thumbs in the middle. I think the undercard was I think it actually over delivered a little bit. AJ and Finn was really good. there were fun moments, but in the main event, but the cruiserweight title match was boring, kind of bad. The bad moments in the main event were terrible. So I've got to give it thumbs in the middle.
I got to too. I'm just confused. I mean, this show is just something else. I mean, this is just, especially the main event being what it was. I mean, AJ and Finn delivered, but man, what a wild show. Definitely entertaining for sure. So at least there's that.
Yeah, for sure.
And we got Survivor Series coming up in a few weeks. So one of the big four. So we'll see what happens then. All right, Devin, appreciate it as always.
Absolutely.
Like I said, we'll be back for Survivor Series. So check us out then. So for Devin, this is Kris saying so long from the Peach State of Georgia.